Hello. Welcome to Sweet Home California. My name is Jennifer, and we are going to be going over my experience firsthand of the Coachella, California Trump rally. I know that there's been a lot of negative press in terms of like, oh, well, Trump has left you stranded. The videos that I posted, I got to say, I've got maybe 3 or 4 people that just to everybody's positive comment, they've got to put in there, oh, how you feel? How'd you feel being stranded out there? Well, you know what? Nobody's still in Coachella. We all got out. I don't know how. Anyhow, we weren't stranded. There was definitely some chaos there, but we all got out. It all worked out, and I am not sorry that I went. I'm very happy that I went. Let's see. We got a couple people on here. I'm going to add Lisa to the mix here. Hello,
Hi
Lisa. How
guys.
are you?
Hi, I'm great. I'm so excited you got to go.
Oh, so am I. So am I. And I wish Andrew could have joined in, but it was a hot day. It was 105, I think is what they were predicting.
Wow.
By the time Trump came out, things were starting to cool down. We were getting some more long shadows there were some palm trees on the side there. There were some buses. There were also cooling tents. They did everything possible to mitigate for the heat. There were pallets and pallets of not only water, which of course, who wants to drink 100-degree water, but they also had these huge insulated containers that they put a whole bunch of ice in. But so people were taking like the empty bags, sticking some ice in there, sticking some water in there. And then in a few minutes, it was cold enough that it was refreshing to drink instead of, 100-degree
Yeah.
water. But there
Yeah.
were absolutely tons and tons of pallets. It was nonstop. Anybody who had heat problems either had an existing condition, and there are a number of people who cannot take the heat. People who might have come from the coast, they might be used to 60, 70-degree weather. You
Yeah.
come to the desert and it's dry and it's hot, and you don't know that you can't handle it. I
Yeah.
feel
Until you're in it. Yeah.
you're in it. It's difficult at that point to leave because they bust you in. There wasn't the opportunity to be like, you're in your car. Oh, it's too hot. Let's turn around. I
Yeah.
could have made that decision at the parking lot because it was just as hot in the parking lot. But yeah, there were, according to our friend that did come, but then turned around, decided it was too hot. He was talking to the sheriff's office, and they said at that point, which was around 2 p.m., the hottest part of the day, he said at that point that they had about 30 calls for people.
Oh,
Well, considering the tens of thousands that were there, I don't
that's
know
not that
exactly.
bad.
I'm not trained in crowd size estimation. Okay. But here, let me show you just some of these pictures because people don't want to just necessarily hear us talk. They want to kind of see with their own eyes. So here are some of the
Oh,
pictures
neat.
where I was at. These are all pictures that I took um, coming in. Let's see.
Look at that. That flag was huge.
Yes, this is me in the check-in line looking at where the vendors were available before you get the check-in line. And so when we first got there, we did spend about an hour milling around there, just looking to see what was for sale. We got some food. The lines there for food were a heck of a lot shorter than once we actually got in. Oh, we
Yeah.
got a lot of people on. Hey, everybody, why don't
Hi,
you
guys.
comment and tell me what's going on. Tell me if you've been to a Trump rally. I would love to know your experiences. This was my first time. The reason why I wanted to have Lisa on here was not only so that it wasn't just me talking, but so that we get her perspective too, because she's been to more. Tell
Yeah.
me, Lisa, what rallies have you been to?
I've been to 3 different rallies, all here in Texas. I have
Oh, okay.
not been able to make it out of state for one. I understand the heat for sure because in Texas there's heat. But the difference is you made a good point there, Jennifer, because like people come from the coast in California. I used to live in Cali, so I know that you go from the coast to the desert and it's night and day. And if you don't understand the difference, I can see how people were going to have issues. Oh, cool.
These,
um,
these ladies were from Vietnam, and one of their leaders spoke, and her English was broken. was not very good, but her message was awesome. She was talking about, communism and that we can't have communism. She knows communism. And so there were a bunch of those ladies that were around, and they survived. They were in those long flowing dresses. And
Yeah.
you can see they're in the shade here right now. We were taking advantage of the shade. This is probably about 2 o'clock in the afternoon that we were
Ooh,
hanging
that's
out.
really hot. Yeah.
So they had a couple of these out there. So to say that Trump didn't care, that the campaign didn't care, that's not true.
Yeah.
There were swamp coolers putting out some cool air. There's enough shade around that if people needed it, they had it.
Yeah, that's one thing that they do very well. And from the aw, you guys look awesome. I love your shirts, by the
Oh
way.
yeah, we got that at the parking lot with the parking lot vendors. The parking lot vendors, by the way, they were a little devious because they were like, "Oh, let's see what they have at once we get there." And the vendor was like, "No, they don't have any. They're not
Yeah.
allowed to be there." Like, oh,
Yeah, everybody trying to get that sale in,
but you
huh?
know what? It was fine because I did not see these shirts anywhere else, and I was happy to have those shirts. Those were fun.
Nice. Yeah,
Yeah.
but every Trump rally that I've been to, they always cared for us very well. There was
Mhm.
never anything. I mean, people, it's interesting. People, there are two types of people who are realists and people who live in La La Land.
Mhm.
And, in Texas, a lot of people understood that, um, the campaign will set this stuff up, right? And the venue is usually donated, meaning wherever they're gonna have it at, and then the campaign will pay for a reimburse
Mhm.
from there.
And that was
Um,
a complaint. It's like, why did they hold it in Coachella? Well, this is California, okay?
yeah,
Trump has friends all over the place, but he had a friend in Coachella that was donating the plot of land, and that right
right.
there is huge. And Coachella is known for, I didn't know this before I went there because I had no idea what Coachella was known for, but
Mhm.
Coachella is known for these huge local festivals that bring
Oh
in
yeah,
thousands of people. So you
yeah.
would think
Coachella is
Coachella
a
would be used to handling this kind of traffic too, right?
they are
Yeah.
they are. That's the
We'll discuss
problem.
this later.
Yeah, that's the problem. They are, and just people who want to be negative are going to be negative, and not much you can do about it. Those are cool.
Yeah, yeah, he had a bunch of these hats, and then of course the defender of pets. That was hilarious.
I wonder if that's the same guy. I have my hat over there that I got at the last rally, my cowboy hat.
Mhm.
And I'm telling you, just talking to some of those guys was just amazing. Absolutely amazing. Oh,
Oh, the secret
wonderful.
watch party. You were there? Oh, I'd love to know your perspective. Give us some comments on how your exit went and your entrance and your exit. I'm really not sure about these buses. So tell me, Lisa,
Yeah.
when you were at these other rallies, tell me how they handled busing, shuttling, parking.
Yeah.
The
See, that's
security
the
is a big issue, so I can understand you don't want cars right in
right.
on trucks. But what happened? How do they handle that?
The ones that I've been to, we didn't have busing or anything like that, but we parked closer. And what they did was just like you have your rings of security, like you were just saying. Well, they just did a couple extra, meaning that there was included the parking. All right. So that way you had a choice to park in different places, but all of the areas were kind of centrally located. And that way also nobody was walking on any sort of place where they could get hit by cars or anything like that. So when I talked to you and heard about how far it was, and I think Andrew brought up how far it was, I was like, what? That just didn't make sense to me because that seems like almost they were trying to. Now, I don't want to assume that anything nefarious because I don't know the people that are in charge of this, but all I can do is use logic and reasoning. And, they do such a better job at Coachella. Why wouldn't they use the same plan? It just doesn't make sense to me. Because especially on a hot day like that, I agree with the buses, but then people are, having to park. How far did you say? Up to?
We were in the closest location because we were concerned about leaving as well. So we were like, okay, we did a recon the day before because we weren't from the area, and we found that the fairgrounds was going to be the closest. So direct walking would have been about 3 miles, 3.2 miles.
That's a
And the
lot.
other two were a little further. One was like 5.5, and one was like 6.5 miles away, which that is really long. So that's the reason we chose the fairground lot, because we're like, you know what, worst comes to worst, we're just going to walk it.
Yeah. Now, see, to me, whoever was in charge of that, I think that's a slide. I think it almost sounds like they made it difficult, and that's horrible. That's absolutely horrible, because the rallies I've been to, there were so many people in wheelchairs and walkers and, all walks and ages of life. People brought, their little kids too, strollers, and that's just too much on families.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, there were kids. There was like a tiny little newborn, and they had like a 3-year-old that when my husband was we were underneath the cooling tents at the time, and the little girl was just like she was like using my husband as a backrest.
oh,
He was kind of woken up, and he's like, oh yeah, no problem. But it was just that kind of atmosphere where
yeah,
everybody was just so happy. We were talking to complete strangers and
yep.
finding out where people were. And I mean, would you, at a music festival, if you even wanted to bring your kids there, would you let them
Right.
touch you? Would you let them anywhere near a stranger?
No, no. And that's the one thing about the rallies I love. And by the way, conservative, way to go. That's
Yeah, that is
amazing.
awesome. That is absolutely
Um,
wonderful.
but yeah, I can't even explain like the beauty in going to a rally. And that's how I try to describe it to everybody, is it's so heartwarming to see so many people being kind. You
Mhm.
bump into somebody, they say, oh, excuse me, or oh, no problem.
Mhm.
I mean, there's no negative, there's no anger. It's just, it's a
And
love fest.
we watched out for the elderly. They said
Yeah,
no chairs. So I have in-laws that need a walker. They didn't
right.
specifically say you could bring a walker. And because I'd never been before, I wasn't, and I knew that going back and forth was going to be difficult. We decided to leave them home. But it
Yeah,
turns out we were in line with an 80-year-old couple. The woman, the wife, was able to walk. She had a chair for being in line, and she knew that we weren't allowed to bring chairs in. But she's like, no worries. I'll just leave it when we get there. But they did allow her husband to bring in the walker. Walkers were allowed. Strollers were allowed.
yes.
I don't know why they didn't let chairs in, because in terms of like using it as a cudgel for something,
Yeah.
you could use a stroller as a cudgel just as soon as you can use a lawn
You can use
chair.
you can use anything you want if you're
Well,
really
no,
a, yeah.
once you allow that in, why the heck not let a chair in? They had a very limited area
Yeah.
for chairs. They had the bleachers on each side, and my husband actually counted, a section and then extrapolated how many people could fit in those bleachers. And his estimate was about 2,000 people just in the bleachers.
Wow.
And then in the chairs that were in front of the stage, that what he estimated to be another 2 to 3,000 in that area that we could have gotten into if we had gone directly there, because we were there early enough. But
Hmm.
we wanted to get food. Yeah, no.
Yeah. I'm the same way. I'm the same way. You know, um,
That's just
well,
it. So that area is in front of where the cameras are. So if you're looking just at that, you're talking, what was that, two plus another two or three, so that's 4 or 5,000 just in there. All right, and then everything else is behind there. This is
yep.
behind, the stadiums. You can see the stadium there. um,
Wow.
this is us looking at Trump behind all these people. So here's where the media is in front of here, and a lot of it was blocked. They did have big 3 jumbotrons, but if you want to see him in person, then you had to
Yeah.
look He had to look through there, and there he is.
Yay!
I saw him in person. Yay!
Yes, he is taller than people think too.
Yeah.
I
So,
remember that was my first thing. Like he's a lot taller than I don't know why I back then. I thought he was probably about 6'1", 6'2",
mhm.
but no, he's 6'4".
Yeah.
He's tall.
Yeah. And Marine Marin, my estimate from being there and just kind of figuring out how long it took to bus people in, and they were
Mhm.
always coming with full buses. My estimate is no less than 50,000.
Yeah, the
And
number that I heard today from the Trump stuff was 100,000
yeah,
total.
I'm not just because of, I heard that there were 20 buses. We were
Uh,
thinking based on what we saw at our, because when we first started, when the buses were first there was 9 buses at our location. So if it was always 9 and it was times 3, then that's probably about 27 buses. And
yeah.
so 60 people at a time, it took us about a half an hour to get
Hmm.
there. It was crazy. There's no reason why it should have taken a half an hour to drive 3 miles.
No.
So I don't understand why the loop-de-loop. Maybe it was because those are the roads they had blocked off. I don't know, but one of the suspicions is that they just ran out of gas. The permit was
Yeah.
15,000. All right. So
Yeah.
all right, we have this many buses. It'll take this many round trips. We need this much gas. And, the problems were if it was 3, 4, 5, 10 times as many people,
Yeah.
it takes that much longer to cycle everybody through and that much more gas. And it's not like the bus driver can just be like, oh, I need to go to Exxon and here's my credit card. No.
Right. They didn't have that ability.
Yeah, it's a fleet diesel station or whatever. And when those tanks are empty, you're not getting another tanker truck in there with fuel. I know
Yeah.
that's one of the things I heard. I would
And
love to
that's
prove it, and I
bad.
don't know, right? That's not necessarily the truth, but that's one of the theories I heard. Another one was that at 10:30, that was when the contract was up, and so the mayor said, no more busing after 10:30. So I don't know. We were very lucky. There was only maybe a couple thousand people ahead of us.
Oh,
So
the only.
we got on one of the first rounds of buses that we were able to get out of there.
Yeah. It sounds to me like it was two things. Number one, you're dealing with city level people who mostly don't like Trump. Um, and then either that or those city people, even if they don't have a bias, just never have dealt with something like this before. Okay, so you can have one side which are being jerks, but then other side where they're not really trying to be jerks, they just don't know how to deal with it, and it's been thrown on them. Okay, but you know they could have extended the buses because they will get it reimbursed by the campaign.
Mhm.
All right. But if the mayor came out and said no, I'm going to fall to the side where he was just mad because there were so many people.
Yeah. Yeah.
you
Because he's
know
like, nobody's going to want him here.
yeah, I mean, that's probably a lot of what happened. And like I said, you never know until you're talking about a specific person, whether it's Trump derangement syndrome, or it's just somebody being thrown something that they've never had to handle before.
Right. And I'm not saying all gas was out. You're saying here there's a truck
R-
stop at the green lot and you filled up with gas. Well, that's
Right.
great. We're talking
Fleets
about,
work different.
yeah, when you have city buses, they don't just go to the regular retail gas lots. They have a specific one where they just have, the corporate city card or whatever, and they
Mhm.
fill up like that. So
That's how
it's
my husband's work does. He has a special card that he uses for his work truck.
mhm.
And he has to enter odometer and the information in, and then that way he can get gas. Now that's only
Mhm.
at specified places,
Yeah.
so he has to get prior approval if he's traveling and there isn't one of them in that area.
Yeah.
So And that's all appropriation issues with money.
Yeah. I want to point out
Cool
a couple things.
car.
Yes, that was an awesome looking car. But some things I want to point out here is that there were tons of cars in the parking lot that had all these Trump flags and things.
Yes.
And here's the cool thing about just Trump rally and the type of people that are there. They left those flags out when we got back because we were also one of the first ones back. Those flags were still there.
Yep.
Nobody
Yep.
stole them because, it very easily could have happened. People that were latecomers could have been like, "Oh, I like this," stick it in their car.
Yep.
It didn't happen. People trusted it wasn't going to happen, and then it didn't happen. So
right. Patriots we don't like to steal. I mean, we're not thieves, Also, when we went to the outdoor rally, well, it was an indoor rally, we didn't get in because I wasn't fighting the line. I told them it was a beautiful day. They had the jumbotrons, I'm like, let's get in line. If we make it, we make it. If we don't, we don't. And so we didn't, but you were mentioning the chairs. So right where you go in, where the railing started, okay, to start winding, there's a huge pile. I mean, my husband is tall as crap, right? The pile was taller than me. But since we decided to stay outside, I was like, "Oh, there's some cool chairs." So we got them and put them in front of the Jumbotron. And then when it was over, we took them and put them back. We didn't take them home. We just borrowed them while they were having fun inside.
Well, I got to tell you about that. I had some people, I had a lot of great people commenting on my video that I put out there. And oh my goodness, that video went viral. I've never had so many people watch one of my videos. So thank you all very much. I appreciate it. And all the new subscribers, it was like some 400 new subscribers. I really appreciate the love. I hope to be more active in our last few weeks here to see if we can make any difference. So I appreciate it.
Yes, absolutely. Subscribe, people.
Yes, there were a number of people, though, that did talk about how they left the chair knowing that they couldn't bring it in. They're just like, just leave it. $10, $15, $20 lawn chair, is the price of comfort for that time.
Yeah.
And it was there and they found it and they took it home with them.
Yeah. Isn't that awesome?
That is awesome. I would love to know if that is possible. If anybody has experience with that at a Kamala rally, I'd love to know if, and I know that I have people who are not for Trump that watch my video because I've had so many people also comment. And since 10, I don't know about so many. All right. 5 or 10 that are very prolific posters. Okay.
That's a nice way of putting it.
Yeah. So that anytime anybody comments, they're like, "Oh, how do you feel about him stranding you there? How'd you feel that he left you there to deal with all the heat?" Well, first of all, by the time we were leaving, it was about 80 degrees. The heat wasn't really a factor. It was the fact that it was dark. Yes, people with young children, people with, that were elderly. That was definitely a horrible challenge. And I hope that never repeats. But considering how many hundreds of rallies, and I went and looked, I was looking for this happening ever before. The only thing I could find was somebody who was definitely anti-Trump. He's got like a 3 million subscriber base, which is just astounds me that there's somebody on the other side that has 3 million people watching him. And he's always talking bad about Trump. But anyhow, he was saying, "Oh yeah, he does this all the time." He says he does this all the time. The only thing he could point to, and the only thing I could find, was Nebraska in 2020. That apparently something similar happened, that it was on a tarmac. They did use shuttle buses. And after a certain time, they stopped apparently coming. But again, I don't know necessarily the facts of it because I was there and I know from people who were there certain things. And then I read the articles that were put out about Coachella. And it's like, where did they get this information from? It's nothing like reality.
Exactly. That happens everywhere.
So I'm not sure really what the truth of the matter is. It's the people that have provided me some videos and they're commenting on it at the time. Those are the ones that I take as being more
authentic. Truthful. Yeah, exactly.
And there were some people who said they walked the whole way. And at that point, though, it was after 10:30. So apparently the consensus is buses were regularly coming before 10:30. After 10:30, it was a lot more difficult. Well, consider consider it took at least 7 hours to get those 50 to 100,000 people in there. You think you're going to move 50 to 100,000 people out
No.
in less than 3 hours? Because he stopped speaking at somewhere around 6:30, 7 o'clock. So
Yeah.
that's only 4 hours to 10:30, right? 4.5
Yep.
hours. There's no way that all those people. So I think a lot of people did walk on their own because they didn't want to wait. And the people who are able-bodied enough to do that, thank you very
Yes.
much, because then that saves spots for people who needed it. And if I had
Exactly.
known about that, we probably we just went ahead and walked, because my husband and I, we walk every day. We probably could have, wouldn't have been worse for the wear. But honestly, we were tired. We were up since 5:30 in the morning.
Yeah, it is. That's the whole thing. It's such a great experience, but you need like a day to rest and recoup. You know, but yeah, it sounds to me like, again, it sounds to me like the mayor was butthurt that there were that many people.
Yeah.
He did not expect that many people. And that's why these people that are in our government shouldn't have a bias. Okay.
Mhm.
There's no way any Trump supporter that I know, would ever put babies or old people, it doesn't matter who they vote for. We would never do that.
Mhm. Oh, and while we were waiting in that line, which let me see if I can show you at the end. Okay, here, let me add this to the stage here. I gotta admit,
I got my hat now.
they say that people leave Trump really early. Yes, they do. Because people do leave Trump rallies early. Okay.
Yes.
We left while he was still speaking because we knew that it was going to take a long time to get out of there.
Yeah.
So, but this is probably about 10 minutes after we were waiting around that I decided to just kind of look around to show what was there. And it was a lot of people. But we were kind of near, you see that opening over here. Let me see if I can. Yeah, so there's an open. We're fairly close. So there was a elderly woman that was to our left on the other side from there, and she was like, "Oh, my back is hurting," and she wasn't asking for anything, but we were like, "Hey, come on over here. I'm sure they'll let you through." And she's like, "No, I'm okay. And like, no, please go." So we got the sheriff over to us. I'm like, "Hey, please let her out." They let her out. Up front, there was another situation where there were a couple handicapped kids, and the mom and people parted like the Red Sea, and like, "Hey, let these people through."
Right.
We do that.
Yeah.
And as I was coming off of the bus, let me see if I can find that one, if we have that on here.
See, this is the thing that I don't get. Coachella is like a week-long event. They move people around without any issue. There's no reason for this to have happened. So, and they can't point to Trump because Trump cannot go into a city and tell them how to do their business.
Mm-hmm.
He can't legally. He can't do that.
Right,
so, it's so beautiful out there.
All right. This is us getting off the bus. I'm a little chaotic. All right, so we let the kids out. She's got a stroller.
Oh.
Is there another walker that needs help up there?
Yeah, there is another walker up there. So we let them out first, right?
Yeah, that's what you do.
Yeah. Wow, look at the line. This is before you check in. Those tents are where the metal detectors are.
Yep, I guess that's before you get into all the security. So I want to go and enjoy it.
Yeah, we do the
You can
same
see
thing.
the water. They got water under those tents there already. Woo-hoo!
Look around.
Sure. All right.
Look at all that cool Trump stuff.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I've spent way too much money at those places.
Yep, they lied to us. Plenty of water. Yeah, so this is just fantastic. There's a ton of
Yeah.
people. Look at all that water.
Expedited entry.
Wow.
They get the expedited entry.
For them to say that there wasn't water is total lie.
Yeah. And those were, I'm sure, everywhere.
Yes.
That is great.
The line is too long.
Okay. Yes, we need food.
So that's the
Let's have
line
food.
for the food here. It was 10 times as long once you got into the venue.
Right? And people don't usually think about that. So if you're getting ready to go to a Trump rally, take some notes from this.
Yeah, that's part of the reason why I wanted to show this was because, all right, what are the notes? Okay. Bring a lot of water.
Yes.
They are going to let you through with a walker. You know what? If you are anywhere marginal, don't stand on pride and be like, oh, I don't need a walker. You know, you might not want to take a walker to the grocery store or to the restaurant, but you know what? That's your portable chair. Get one that's got the chair.
Yes.
They said that you couldn't bring purses or backpacks, but on the other hand, they did say that you could bring bags up to 12 inches by 14 inches by 5.
Right.
I had a little fanny pack, but I decided not even to risk that. But I did see later other people that had rather substantial fanny packs that they allowed in. I just brought a plastic bag, and I had some snacks in there. Bring some snacks because those lines are long. Bring some cash in case internet goes out, and there was some problem with some internet with some of the vendors. So having cash was great. Don't bring things that you're not willing to lose. You know, if they decide, hey, you know, you can't bring the umbrella. There were people with umbrellas. Yeah. You just know that you're going to lose them, but you might be able to find them on the way out. You know.
Exactly. A lot of people, it was funny. I mean, there was, besides the chairs that day, there was more than just chairs. People had those big tents, like you just showed, that they could pop up, you know, outside while they were waiting. And they threw those there. There was so much different stuff that people, and nobody, I mean, the chair thing people that weren't going in did borrow, but everybody like walking out was just putting them all back.
You know, my husband said that there should be somebody who does it as a rental. You know, a vendor who's there that's like, all right, here's your $5, you know, rental, and then you just leave it there, and then they take them back. They know they can't go through; they're going to get them back.
Yeah.
So that would be a fantastic thing
for
somebody to capitalize on. And all these vendors that were there, you know, we all thanked them for being there, and I wish they had twice as many. Because again, the lines were very long. And this one guy said, yeah, you know, I had to call and they said they'd get back to me, but they didn't, but I persisted. So if you're a vendor, persist. There's so much stuff going on. Just keep asking. And you know what, if you're nearby, just go ahead and show up.
Yep.
You know, what the worst they can do is turn you away, which of course is bad if you've got perishable food. But,
that just means that you have to be back farther.
Yeah, you might just wind up having to be back further, go over to where the parking lots are. It didn't seem like there was any like real credentials to be a vendor, especially at the parking lot. In fact, they had a guy that had a U-Haul rental van, and it was in the way of where the buses were going to be. And so somebody said, "Hey, can you move it over there?" And they did, but they had their tent set up, and then that was just their replenishment.
Yeah, people, this is the thing to me that I love about it, and I'm so glad that you got to experience it, because don't you feel like you have more hope now in the world?
Absolutely.
You got to see so many nice, normal, different walks of life of Americans, and it shows that we can come together.
And the big thing is that there are so many people who I've talked to in my neighborhood that I know are conservative. And I'm like, hey, you going to vote? Because I've been a poll worker now for 3 or 4 years.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, my vote doesn't mean anything. My vote doesn't mean anything. It does.
It does.
Please don't give up. Okay. Please go out there and vote. And if nothing else needs Republican congressmen, okay? There are 54 congressional seats in California, and a number of them are in California. A number of them are competitive, that your vote can make that difference. We're a very red area. Kevin McCarthy's old district is now Vince Fong. With the jungle primary, there are 2 Republicans that are running. A Republican's going to win. But there are a number of districts that it may be close. You need to vote. You need to vote. The other thing, the other reason why I'm so glad that Trump came and is just putting in this energy is because the popular vote does mean something. How many times have you heard, oh, but he didn't win the popular vote? Well, yeah, because the people in California and New York are so disheartened that they don't think it means anything. But I want to tell you, the popular vote does mean something psychologically. And there are going to be people who want to dispute this. And there are so many Democrats that want to do away with the Electoral College because, oh, well, the Republicans never win the popular vote. We need to do away with the Electoral College. Well,
very good point.
Yeah, vote in California has more registered Republicans than any other state. Did you know that?
Well, that's why it drives me crazy, because I'm like, California should be red. You know, I lived there. I remember. Yeah, you had
Reagan was a governor here.
Huh?
Reagan was our governor.
Yes, exactly. Exactly. He came from California. So, you know, but that's the other reason why, you know, I don't like when they start calling stuff before you guys have had the chance to vote.
I know.
I think that's wrong.
Yeah.
I didn't like it when I lived there either. And I think, you know, that's media. Media is trying to push an agenda.
Right. Yeah. But don't be disheartened. He said that there's some 50% Christians that don't vote. There's at least 30% of gun owners that don't vote. There's still time in a lot of states to register. In California, you can register up to the day, you know, 8 o'clock when the polls close, you can still be registering and have your vote. It'll be considered provisional because they want to verify that you are who you say you are, but your vote will eventually count, you know, 3 weeks down the line when they finally get around to it. But I think that number means something because, again, there's going to be those that are going to dismiss him. If you know, I believe the Electoral College is going to be a landslide, but the popular vote means a different. Now, Antifa is going to riot no matter what because that's Antifa. Yeah. But the everyday Democrat, that popular vote is going to mean something, and it'll be more unifying to those more moderate Democrats if we can show, look, how many people voted for Trump.
Yes.
So do it.
Yes, exactly. And we need to get back to a place in our country where people don't feel like that. You know, so this is the time to do it. You know, stand up, speak up. That's what that's about. Like, not just, you know, about if you see something wrong, say something wrong. No, stand up and make yourself count. And you do, every single person counts. So, you know, as long as you have that right.
Right. Yeah. Keep it, use it, don't lose it. All right. I know some people wanted to talk about the alleged third assassination attempt. Have you had time to look into any of the reports on that, or?
Yeah, I'm still coming back to, I think I have an issue with the group that he affiliates with from the sovereign stuff.
He claimed in his 1.5-hour video that he was not a part of that.
Yeah, I know. But see, I haven't been able to find anything yet. And it's still so soon that I want to see the body cam. I want to see the interaction that there was.
He put in a FOIA request for that. Oh, let me just set the stage here. All right. So there was a gentleman, Vem Miller. Is that the correct last name?
Vem Miller, yes.
Yeah, Vem Miller, who is from Las Vegas, that went into the VIP area. So the VIP area had parking on site. There were 2 checkpoints. One to basically say, yeah, I'm authorized to be here, but they don't do any checks. And then once you get to the second one, then that's where they do more of the checks. So apparently he went past the first one and was stopped at the second one. And he said he told the police officer there just like he does. He says any other rally he's been to, and he says he's been to dozens. Hey, I've got some loaded firearms in the back. That might fly in Nevada, Arizona, Utah. Not going to fly in California because, first of all, any gun in California has to be registered in the state of California. I don't care that you're not from California. Apparently, that's still a big deal. And then he also had a magazine, and he had something more than 10 rounds in California.
And it goes by California law. And that's
considered a high capacity. More than 10 rounds is high capacity.
Right. Which in Texas, that's kind of funny. But anyway.
So this gentleman, not too smart in that regard. He may actually be bona fide conservative. You can check him out on Rumble, look it up. Apparently he's got some videos about the Las Vegas shooting that he is feeling like maybe this was a retaliation for him exposing some deep state secrets. I don't know. I haven't watched that video yet, but definitely take this matter with a grain of salt. It doesn't really look like it was an assassination attempt at all. Secret Service and FBI didn't even bother talking to him. So.
Right. My feeling on it is that he was an idiot. He was stupid, but I don't think there's anything more to it. I do think it was a shot off the bow at him because of some of the work that he's done and he's doing, and maybe some of his affiliations. He's also been known to run in circles with Ivan Rankin. And Ivan Rankin, I think is how you say it.
Okay, I'm not familiar.
Okay, well, he's doing a lot of deep state exposure, and that's why I think maybe it was a warning, but or it was almost a setup, and he walked right into it. There's still so many things that need to come out. We need to see, what the police department comes up with, because there's no federal charges, first of all, and the bond of $5,000 basically is a slap on the hand because they knew they messed up. And I think, we have to back our blue to a point, and I don't want to rail on police in general, but there are never Trump police. So until
even in Riverside County, which is apparently generally conservative, and their sheriff actually spoke at the rally, and he is definitely a Trump supporter and may apparently even have aims to run for governor next time around. So I hope he really threads the needle here and does the facts, because he kind of went hard at this guy at his press conference and said, oh yes, we definitely averted a third assassination attempt. Well,
I think that was a little ego, though.
Yeah, take a moment before you say something definitively.
Yeah, so. Yeah, and I think they're going to get sued for it.
Yeah, because they still have his. Apparently, he took a lot of content, and he has some expensive video equipment, and it's still confiscated. He said the earliest he can get it is tomorrow. So, yeah.
That's not unusual. It takes them a while to release stuff like that. I mean, for anybody, not just him. But yeah, I don't believe it was an assassination attempt. The guy kind of, I think he's innocent. And I think that it's just my spidey senses always go up when I hear about multiple IDs and all of that, because I start thinking agency stuff. So I don't know. I really don't know, but I'm interested to see as the truth comes out, because it always does.
Yeah. I hope so. Now that I didn't listen to his whole hour and a half. He really talked a long time. Yeah. But I did hear, though, about the IDs, that he claims that he's Armenian and that his given Armenian name is distinctively Armenian. And so he does have some IDs that are, he said, completely valid, but are less Armenia-sized. They're more Americanized, like you have a shortened version of the name that's more American, but it's his name. It's like a legal.
Well, he also worked in LA and in Hollywood for a while, and a lot of in that profession, you typically do have a pen name. You don't usually use your normal name, especially if it has Armenian spelling and then people can't remember it or spell it or say it, So there's a lot of different things that it could be. But again,
so I'm just saying right here, we don't know.
Yeah.
Let's take it with a grain of salt.
I'm just grateful that it wasn't another one.
Yeah. Especially it's definitely, I think they were right in removing him from the situation.
Yeah. They have to investigate.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. But I know that you are getting ready to go on another live stream. Please let everybody know where they can find that.
Yeah, I will be live on APNX and then Freedom of America 1776 on YouTube, Twitch, and Rumble. So if you can't make it today, no worries. Just stop by. We're always around doing something. So we appreciate everybody that does.
Thanks, you so much for having your perspective here. And you would say if people can go, they should still go to a rally. Don't be afraid about being stranded.
Just use your brains, and be aware of where it's going to be at. Like you did Recon Day before. That's perfect. That's so smart. Know your surroundings always. Yeah. And then that way, and take your patience, plenty of time. But the thing is, you don't need them because everybody at these rallies, I can't even explain it. It is one of the most wonderful experiences I've experienced. So I recommend it for everybody. And I'm so glad that you and your husband got to do it too.
Oh, I am too. I absolutely am. So anyhow, thank you for your perspective. Thank you everybody for watching us. And I will post, if you stay on after Lisa signs off here, I will play some of those videos so you can kind of see again some more videos, firsthand perspective.
And check out our shirts; they're so cool. All right, bye guys.
All right, thanks, Lisa. All right, for everybody else, don't leave yet. I have some other videos to show, just so that you can kind of have an idea of how everything was going from my perspective. So anyhow, so this is, I'll just go right from the very beginning here, and we got there at about 6 o'clock in the morning to get in line into the parking lot. We got into the parking lot somewhere around 7. We had some air. Let me share my screen over here. At the stage, so they had some vendors out already. These are the lines that we had already. Here, let me play this one. So this is roughly 7:15, 7:30-ish. And these are the people in line that got there ahead of us already. All right, and then we've got, let's see, what is this one? And thank you all for being here. If you haven't subscribed already, go ahead and subscribe, hit like, helps the algorithm. So the wristbands were so that we knew what bus we were getting back on. Again, this was like people didn't believe their stuff was going to get stolen. And when we came back, those flags were all still there.
Start of the line, yeah. Hey, how early did you all get here? 3:30 yesterday. In the afternoon. Wow.
Yeah, so he was there 12 hours about. Math is not good. 15 hours ahead of us. He was there 15, 16 hours ahead of us. All right, Trump chant. What else we got here? All right, morning lineup. This is my video that went viral, so I'll just show a little bit of it here.
All right, we just got our fight shirts, and the buses just arrived. And see, we've got a ton of buses are already coming in.
Yeah, there's 8 buses
still coming
at that
in
point.
for the parking lot, and this line is just crazy long. but they still have plenty of room. That whole entire parking lot over there, they haven't even gotten into
When we
yet.
got back, that other
Vendors
side
are
of the
here
parking lot was full.
Individual parking spaces. There's 3 different parking lots. They're not going to have vendors at the location.
Turned out not to be true. There were vendors in the other location.
Because it's a very open location, and I guess security or something or other. But anyhow, Trump. But the crowd here is just absolutely great. They've had some vendors that are giving away T-shirts with people yelling out Trump. Whoever yells the loudest, and they give them a T-shirt. They got free water. They got them hanging out. Okay. They got water that they just plop on the ground for free for people. There are restrooms here at this location. I don't know if they have them at all the parking locations, hopefully, but they do also have latrines. This is the gentleman the location that we bought the fight T-shirts from.
Those folks came from North Carolina. They go to all the rallies. They've been doing it since 2016.
This is a vendor from North Carolina.
Oh, I said it.
They've been
I forgot.
to the last 3 election cycles, and they said this one's going to be a landslide. Trump is going to win by a landslide. I asked them if they go to the Kamala rallies, and they laughed at me. So these folks are just exclusively Trump. So that's awesome. They're not just trying to capitalize. Though honestly, I don't know if you could capitalize on Kamala. All right, so
that's the same stuff.
Yeah, they just divided themselves so they can cover more territory here. But here, the line is continuing.
Look at, they already got the flags up and everything.
Yeah, they set up real quick. Yeah.
There's our shirt.
Yeah, the fight shirt. That was $40, but I've never seen anyone like that. These other ones, the cotton ones, I think are like 30. Yeah. But I didn't show you in the parking lot. There are tons of flags in the parking lot. People here trust that flags will still be up when they come back. So I think that says a lot about this crowd. All right, we are still going. We are still walking. You can hear, I think, in the background, somebody with a bullhorn. They're getting the crowd up.
I see that line keep going back there.
You two mind if I take a picture of your shirt? Sure. Yeah.
People were just awesome.
Yeah,
I so enjoyed this.
They're not going to have any. I was told. I was told they're not going to have vendors now. So buy your stuff now, and then you can put it back in your car and not carry everything.
Don't buy a vendor, though.
Yeah, I was told by a vendor, so take that with a grain of salt.
And keep in mind, if you're joining me just now, this is not at the venue. This is at the parking lot. So this is the line to get into the parking lot. By the time we got to the end, it took us another 2 hours to get onto the bus.
A lot of red hats.
A lot of red hats. Got the red, white, and blue.
But we talked to people while we were in line. Everybody was just so nice.
Thank you. All right, we're going to be the most popular people in there with these shirts on. Yeah. All right, there are a lot of people. We're not supposed to bring chairs, but people just understand they're going to be losing the chairs, but at least they got some place to sit while they're waiting. I don't think they care either. We talked about doing that. We talked about grabbing our chairs, and then we didn't.
All right, so this is going to go on another 3 or 4 minutes before we get to the end of the line. So we'll end that there, and we'll see what else we have to show. There was this group of college kids that were there that they enjoyed being at their first Trump rally. And this was when we finally got onto the bus. And yeah, we didn't see any protesters. So you're right, Stormbringer. I didn't see any protesters at all. This is us leaving.
Yeah, Yeah, they're parking on the other side.
And those folks,
now.
that gentleman and the woman in the blue hat, those were 80-year-old folks that we were sitting in line next to, or standing in line next to.
Oh, wow.
We're all just, this is just great. So I'm just going to end that there. It took about 30 minutes to get from the parking lot to the event. So I don't know why they took such a circuitous route, because when we reconned this the day before, it was 3 miles. It took us about 8 minutes to drive it ourselves in our own car. All right, let's see where else. Okay, this is check-in complete.
All right, we are through the check-in. That is where they're checking everybody in. There's already been a number of calls for medics.
Look how far it goes that way.
Yeah.
That is nuts.
Yeah, this place is huge.
Hey, I want to address that about call for medics. My husband and I are military. All right. When we graduated from basic training, they always tell you, do not lock your knees. Make sure you drink plenty of water. You're going to be out there on that field for your graduation. We're all like 18, 19, 20 years old. So we're like prime in shape. I graduated from Fort Dix, which is in New Jersey, so nowhere near as hot as this. And you know what? We still had people falling out because of the heat, because they didn't take care of themselves. They didn't listen. They didn't hydrate and have the electrolytes for themselves. So you have even a wider range of ages, wider range of health pre-existing, and a wider range of people not being told by their drill sergeants, make sure you drink that water, make sure you've got food in you so you don't pass out from a lack of electrolytes. It's going to happen. Just know, don't be afraid. If you are in good shape, just bring your water, bring something to eat. You got to have your blood sugar and you got to have your salts. Okay. So anyhow. So it was probably at least a quarter mile, half mile to get from the check-in to the front of the stage. That was huge. All right. Now I know people want to know what went on after that. All right. So there's our complete check-in. Food line. Okay. This is the food line in the location. See how much longer that line is? It's crazy. Let's see if we can start the survey.
Oh, this is the lines for the food. So glad we got here early enough to.
Yeah, so glad we got there early enough that we didn't have to deal with that. All right, let's see what's next here.
By mail or in person, we are going to protect the vote. That's the most important thing we have to do, is protect the vote. Keep your eyes open, because these people want to cheat, and they do cheat, and frankly, it's the only thing they do well. We will make sure your ballot is secure and your voice is heard. Many Republicans like to vote on Election Day, and we must swamp the radical Democrats with massive turnout on Tuesday, November 5th. The way you win is to swamp them. If we swamp them, they can't cheat. It just doesn't work out. But if you can't make it, you need to make a plan, register, and vote any way possible. We got to get your vote. So with your vote, we will win a victory the likes of which no one has ever seen before. We will evict crooked Joe Biden from the White House, and we will take back.
Each of those stands holds about 500-600 people, these individual stands. And then in front of these people that are standing, there's a whole nother huge field where they actually have chairs. Some of them were reserved for VIP folks. There are some people that paid as much as $25,000 to be able to have their picture taken with Trump behind stage. But there were also people that were just, if there is first come, first serve, they were able to get in there. We decided that we wanted to eat before we got in. We might have had a chance to get in there, but we didn't choose to get in there right away. So if you are there really early, check that out before you get something to eat, if that's something that's important to you. But anyhow, in front of where these people are with the hats, that's probably represents, I would say, a minimum of 5,000, 6,000 people. And we're really close to the front at this point, so there's a ton of people behind me.
Back our country on November 5th, 2024, the most important day in the history of our country. That's what it's going to go down as. Thank you. This is the final battle. With you at my side, we will demolish the deep state. We will expel the warmongers from our government. We will drive out the globalists. We will cast out the...
Because Trump himself isn't speaking. In fact, nobody is speaking on stage right now. Those were just some video clips that they would throw in occasionally. So there are still all those people in those food lines, which represent thousands of people back there. There's also people there's like 3 or 4 different cooling tents that people are underneath taking advantage, because this is at the height of the heat. This is like between 1:30, 2 o'clock in the afternoon.
Communists, Marxists, and fascists. We will throw off the sick political class that hates our country. We will rout the fake news media, and we will liberate America from these villains once and for all.
Yeah, I'm sure.
All right, this is at about 4:30. I made another trek back to the latrines. Let's see here. Let me start this over.
People are still coming in.
I don't know what happened to the sound there, but anyhow, as people still coming in, they're still streaming in through the checkpoints. The buses are still dropping people off, and this is at 4:30. Okay. All right, and then this is at the end. We did leave while Trump was still speaking because we had been up since 5:30 in the morning. But this is like there was still a gazillion people that were back there listening to him.
You go to the CFOs. Yeah. I got my hat. Now I'll hang it on my I love
All right, and then when we finally got out of our little area, you can see how much. This is us walking towards the bus. Either walking it, or if you come across like red. Oh, good. So we were able to get onto that bus, and those people that were there, some of them were waiting for a different bus. So, I mean, it wasn't like a fight to get onto the bus at that point. All right, let's see. But then once we got
Oh my wow, this is gonna be hours. Hours getting out of here. There's people over here too.
we've already
Look, and there's more here. Oh my god.
Now they had another exit. Oh wow.
I heard that yellow and green was full. Yeah, red was just a much bigger venue. That's part of the reason why we decided that. So definitely some lessons to be learned there on the organizers' part. I'm not sure how much of it was just incompetence, how much of it was maliciousness. But if you intend on going to a Trump rally, which I really recommend that you go, it was an experience. I'm really glad that we went. I'm not sure that we would do it again, just because we're the type of people that don't normally do these sorts of things. To give you another example, we lived an hour and a half away from Washington, D.C., and we went to see one of those big fireworks shows on the 4th of July in D.C., our nation's capital, because it's just beautiful. It's wonderful. You want to be a part of that. We did it once, and we decided that fighting the subway traffic, getting in and out, it was just so much. It was such a long day. We're just much happier watching it at home. But anyhow, I compare it to that I'm really glad that we went. I can mark that off my bucket list that we've done, but I don't feel the need to go back. But I highly recommend for anybody who wants to go, definitely go. And have fun. Just be prepared. Make sure you've got water and drinks and, Gatorade. There were people. Oh, that's another great idea for entrepreneurs. That there were some ladies that had coolers. You couldn't bring a cooler into the venue, but you know what? You could serve the people who are out there. The venue itself or the campaign itself was offering water for free, and the ice was free. But you know what? That's not all you need when you're dealing with that kind of heat. You need to have some electrolytes, and you bring some bananas. I brought some freeze-dried fruit, which of course means you need to make sure you're drinking the water. You can't have freeze-dried or dehydrated fruit and not have extra water on hand. But you need to have the electrolytes. You need to have the vitamins, not just be pure water. That can be harmful to your health as well. So bring those things. Make sure you have them, because the lines for food are very, very long. And especially if you know you've got some blood sugar issues, you want to make sure that you are thoroughly prepared. But if you want to be an entrepreneur about it and you just want to serve the people, there were people who were offering Gatorade for $5 a bottle. And they were decent size. They weren't the mini ones. They were decent sized Gatorade bottles. And we were very happy to pay it. We bought 2. And I'm sure she ran out. I don't at all consider that price gouging. If you've ever been to a football game, baseball game, they're going to charge you a heck of a lot more for a drink there. And so anyhow, we were very thankful. So that's a great idea for somebody who is entrepreneurial in spirit. Get out there and serve the people and give them the things that they need and have fun with it. Anyhow, that is it for my videos. We had a great time. The other thing that we did is we brought an RV. So you couldn't have an RV in the parking lot, but we're 1,000 Trails members, and Palm Springs had 1,000 Trails campground. So we had actually been in the area since Thursday. Friday morning, we went golfing. We're from the desert, so the 100-degree weather wasn't too dangerous for us. So we had already been in 100+ degree weather all day on Friday golfing. Then we did our scoping of everything. We went to the location, and let me see. I can show you a couple of videos of that before I go. Hold on. It was a good time. All right, so this is me doing our rally, our recon the day before.
I think it's called the Empire Polo Club. This is the big field where they're going to have the Trump rally, right behind me there. And they've got the sheriff's office. They got buses and buses of the sheriff's office that are going to be providing security. And all along these roads, all along the roads that border this are all no parking. I don't know if that's just for security or if it's because the mayor does not like Donald Trump. But this is going to be a huge, this is on private land. Somebody who's a friend of Trump. But on the other side of those semi trucks, that's where they got the Jumbotron, and they've got grandstands, and they've got trains over there where the white tents are.
Right after I filmed that, there was a gentleman that came up, and he was in his 80s. And after seeing that, he decided he wasn't going to be there. So you got to know your limits. If that's too much for you, then don't go. Definitely, you have to take care of yourself and make sure that you're healthy enough to withstand the environment that you're going to be in. All right, this is us.
Yeah, they don't want anybody
leaving. So just some more.
Oh yeah.
perspective.
We just got told to leave by sheriff's office because we had stopped at that location there.
Right after I filmed the first one, they told us to leave.
But anyhow, yeah, they're not going to have anybody parked along here. So I think it's more for security than it is because the mayor doesn't like Trump. Good things can be true, though. But anyhow, we talked to an older gentleman that was like, he's concerned he's not going to be able to stand. We're not sure if we're going to be able to bring chairs or not. I'm hoping that they make accommodations for older people, though, because this is,
and they did.
This is just
walkers
a
allowed,
huge
strollers allowed for those with kids
out in the sun. So hopefully we'll be able to bring a chair, or the elderly can bring their walkers or something.
All right, we'll go on to the next one here. This is at the fairgrounds, and we didn't scope out the other two parking lots because we knew we wanted to be as close as possible.
This is the Riverside County Fairgrounds, and this is where they're going to be having some shuttles. So they've got a lot of parking available here. They have parking on this side. And it looks like,
I don't think they use that other side.
Actually,
by the way. I think that was something different. When we came back, I only noticed people parking on this side, but it was full.
A lot.
It was full.
And here's some people. Oh, look, they got people all dressed up.
Yeah, this is about 3:30 in the afternoon. You know, I told you that there were people who said they'd been there from 3:30 in the afternoon.
Hopefully.
So anyhow, that entire row, we came in when we got in at 6 o'clock in the morning. We were stopped for about an hour right about here while we were waiting for everybody else to be able to get in. If you can follow where my cursor is on the screen. So anyhow, it was a great time. I really enjoyed it. I really wanted to make this video because, you know, I had my daughter, my mom, my siblings, you know, kind of want to know what all happened. So this kind of puts everything all in one spot that I can share them with people. So I appreciate you joining me in on this video, and I appreciate your comments, your subscriptions. Thank you very much. And I hope to put out some more videos a bit more regularly in the future. So make sure you hit that subscription and notification bell so that you know when I am online. God bless, and do not fear. Just trust in the Lord. He's got this. I really, in my heart, believe that Trump is going to win. But if he doesn't, just know it's not the end of the world. We win in the end. God's got this. All right. Take care. God bless.